it's a place that is rife with transition. So think about that as we move our way up into the bay. Think about life at one time being detonated, destroyed, and now look at all that's coming back. But you got to think back further than that. That's right. Many, many years ago, all the ice you see there on the Reed Glacier was the Pacific Ocean. The Pacific Ocean is about 50 miles beyond the Reed Glacier. It's out across the Great Ice Field. And that is anything but Pacific. Pacific means peace. It, in fact, can be very tumultuous. It's got currents and weather systems that are amazing. And one of the currents it has is the Kurashio Drift, which is part of the Japanese current, ponderous ice, and you would move down until one day you would hear a cracking, a rending sound. It would be you breaking off. It's one of the icebergs we see flecked all across the surface of the water in front and up to the sides of us. Once you hit the water, you would start to dissolve slowly but surely, and once again then, ultimately finding your way as a water droplet, a single water droplet in the Pacific Ocean once again. The scientific view in those days, this prevailing scientific view was one of catastrophism, that huge tumultuous events create our large land masses, like Yosemite, like, well, the Grand Canyon, earthquakes in other words, and giant floods. Well, Muir did not believe this. He believed that a glacier sculpted Yosemite over time. Josiah Whitney, however, the state geologist, calls him an ignoramus in print. And therefore, Muir came up here to see the living glaciers, because he couldn't find any really good examples in the lower 48. Of course, they had disappeared in the Pleistocene times, 14,000 years ago. He needed to come here where glacial activity was still fresh and new. The only way to get here is by steamship. You came as far as Fort Wrangell, which is where Wrangell, the city of Wrangell is today, 200 miles south of us. At that point, he had no other alternative but to find some passage up into this region, and he did so by enlisting the aid of 4 Tlingit paddlers, the native peoples here. They paddled John Muir up here in 1879 in a 35-foot wooden canoe. Believe it or not, because there's so much ice choking this bay. Other days it's clear sailing, and everything in between. Well, I think the physical changes here, this great glacier receding back and actually pushing forward, as it has done no fewer than 4 times in the past, I think that's just part of the story. I think other changes also are in the offing, and what I mean by that is attitudinal changes. I think we've changed the way we see places like this as they become ever rarer. You know, we used to see things as just wild areas, as areas of extraction. We thought about how many board feet of lumber we could get out of them, or the minerals that we could extract from their mountainsides. But here's a kind of alarming statistic. 1900, look at it and analyze it, and you find out that some of the rocks here have magnetite in them, which is what makes a compass needle work. And you can do what's called paleomagnetic analysis, which is a big fancy word for see how the crystals line up. And that lineup, the crystal orientation in the rock, will actually give you the latitude formed. Because when it hardened and cooled, and then was, of course, solid, it lined up according to, like a compass needle, pointing to magnetic north. So they find, by looking at this, that some of these rocks come from Tahiti. Whoa, tropical rocks, all the way here at 58 degrees latitude. 1 degree of latitude equal to 60 nautical miles. You do the math, it's a long way from the equator. So how did they get here? Well, of course, they rafted up on the plate system of the Earth. You know, there's about 13. We're at the Lamplugh now, and he's going to be moving the ship, maneuvering it, eventually to where the starboard side will be facing that glacier, and then moving on from there.
Okay, here it goes, spinning.
I feel kind of dizzy right now.
It's going to go like this, so the other side will face the glacier.
Guys.